I'm Jerry McKee, and welcome to Prime Time. We're starting a little bit late today because if anyone's ever been on 85, 26, and during the rush hour and there's an accident or there's somebody working on the road, you're going to be late, right? Well, we were a little late tonight because of that right there, and we understand because that will happen. Uh, I'm got a special guest with us tonight. We got Floyd Lyles, and he's got a unique job, I would say, very unique and rewarding too, because I have read some of the things that you're doing and that you've done, and I don't think I got my thing over here. Okay, I'm just trying to. Oh, here we go. I'm sorry, I got to do two or three finger things here, but you're gonna learn a little bit about. And a lot of you probably know who he is. I know my daughter loves him to death, and. Uh, and he's an educator. And anyway, you're going to find out a lot of stuff about him. But we're going to be right back right after this message from Graham's, Florida.
Most important moments in your life. When you need to say congratulations, express gratitude, or say I love you. At Graham's Flowers, we deliver your deepest emotions. When you need more than just flowers, call Graham's Flowers your personal florist. At Graham's Flowers, customer satisfaction is guaranteed. Visit us at 208 East Main Street in Union, South Carolina, or call us at 864-427-2454.
Okay, we're back, and the person you're seeing right now is Floyd Lyles, and let me get his name up underneath him with DS. There we go, DJJ. And how are we doing today? You've had a long day today.
It's been a really long day, so thank you so much. Number one, for having me in, and the best time of the year, Thanksgiving. But I left really early, but it was a major accident on 26, and we were at a standstill. So thank you for adjusting the time for us to get started.
Hey, that I understand. I used to travel it myself a lot, and we know that it's just crazy down on those things. Now, you are an educator, and now you went to Union High School growing up.
Yes.
And what year did you graduate from there?
Yes, sir. I was a high school graduate at Union High School at the time in 1992. So, growing up here in Union County, in Carlisle, South Carolina, love my hometown, and, just really, really love my family. It's the best time of the year during Thanksgiving. So I'm excited to be here, and I appreciate you having me. And I want to say happy Thanksgiving to you and your family as well.
Well, thank you. Now, Carlisle, I'm going to be in Carlisle on the 9th. That's when the parade is. And the mayor seen me at one of the events, and she says, now you're going to come and you'll be seeing me on the 9th. And I'm sitting here trying to say, oh, who are you? And she said, you don't know who I am, do you? And Tammy Ann says, I said, no, I don't. I'm a horrible name. She said, oh, no. You're going to see me on the 9th. I got to thinking, Carlisle parade, you're the mayor.
That's right.
so she kind of laughed about that because she said, I'm horrible names too. Now you went to Union High School, and you played football?
Yes, sir. So growing up, sports really, really was the avenue that really started and helped me discipline myself. And so when I played at Union, head coach was Mr. Shell Doolin, who was so hard on us, and the best thing that ever happened to me. Just making us accountable every single day, just doing the little things well, doing them right. And so that was a huge point. I look back over now and looking at the little things that we did over time, and what I learned as a player developed me into the man that I am today.
Now, let me ask you this. Was it state champion? You got to go to state champion? Or?
Yes, sir. I was on that first team. Well, not the first team, not the sit team of 1972, I think. But Anthony Hunter was the running back the year that I played, and we won the state championship. I was actually a junior that year. And Anthony Hunter, we had Kevin Addis was the quarterback during that time frame, and we won the state championship against Lancaster.
Wow.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That was
Now,
exciting time.
what position did you play?
I played linebacker and I played quarterback.
Oh, okay.
So, I love
Well,
being
you
on
kind of
defense.
built like a linebacker, so you know.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So I love playing defense, but my senior year when Kevin Addis graduated, then Coach Dooley was like, "You're gonna have to play offense. You got to play quarterback." And I said, "Coach, please, I don't want to play offense." So I had to start the year at quarterback, and Darryl Rutherford took over at the time. He was a sophomore at the time, and so I was happy that he took the role as quarterback, so I can play defense, with my guys.
Now, when you was in coming through high school, did you have in mind your goals of being an educator, or was your goal since you're playing, football like that? So I'm a professional football player.
That was my ultimate goal, really. I had no idea, and it's really weird when I was here in Union. Some of my friends, when I became principal and different things, like, what are you doing as principal? Because you were always into something, and I didn't like school at the time. So it's ironic how my life changed. I always loved working with young people. I always, had a knack for that. But my dream when I left Union High School was to make it to the NFL or play Major League Baseball. So that was my dream going to college. And I'll never forget Miss Presley at the time. She used to tell us, that's all you talk about is the NFL. And that's all you talk about is pro. You need to focus on school. And I said, yes, ma'am. And, but my focus was not that at all. And so it's ironic for me, someone that was never really crazy about school. I would have never dreamed in a million years that I would have ended up being an educator. Like that was not on the path in any way at all in my life.
Now, when you graduated, did you think about what am I going to go to college, or what college did you go to, and how did you pick that?
So I was playing football and baseball at the time, and so like I said, my dream was to play in Major League Baseball. So I had a baseball scholarship to go to Benedict College, and I really wanted to play football, but Benedict offered me a full scholarship to go and play. So I chose Benedict College to play baseball, and I'll never forget when I started the process. My goal was to make it to the major leagues. And when I was coaching, when I was a teacher, I told them, I said, that was my dream. My dream was not college. My dream was not to go into education. But I realized I was not good enough to get drafted and go on to the major leagues. And so I had some really, really good years. I had scouts scouting me. I had pro trials. But, when it didn't work out, I feel like I was an extended college student because I was trying to make it to the league. But, I always had a love for working with young people. I always wanted to help out. I always wanted to be a part of a team. And I think my life through sports really, really drove me to do what I ended up doing.
Who really influenced you as far as in teacher-wise like that for you to go into education? Because there's so many other fields you could have went into.
No one really influenced me to go into education. I know my mom was afraid anytime I name names, then people get upset about different things or whatever. But I think the first teacher, I don't even want to say because then somebody going to say, well, you didn't say me or whatever. But I had some very influential teachers that I knew believed in me, where I didn't really believe in myself. I wasn't passionate enough to really prepare myself academically. And so what I realized that I had really good people, because when you ask someone right now, like, who's your favorite teacher? They never tell you it was math, science, social studies, whatever.
Right.
It's how they made you feel. And so I had several teachers early on that really made a difference for me, and they encouraged me to think beyond sports. And they encouraged me to think beyond, my abilities. And so that was a great influence for me. My mom and my dad. My mom stayed on me all the time about, she knew how much I wanted to play ball.
Right.
And so if your grades were not good, you're not playing. So I put my head down to make sure my grades were where they needed to be so I could play.
They play that little card, don't they?
That's right.
So,
I played the same card with my kids as well.
Yeah. Well, you got to, because you see your vision there, and you know yourself, and coming out of high school or even college like that, it's very hard to make it into the majors, into the national leagues. It's not an easy task, and they look at education.
That's it. That's exactly right. So over time, you know, when you're young, you know, and I say this to students all the time now, that you don't realize like everything that you're doing, all the things that you're going through is building you for who you are and who you're gonna become. So every day matters, every single day. And when you're young, you don't think about it. And when you make mistakes, you don't think about it. But when all of it start coming together, then you realize like, hey, this happened for that reason. It's built me for other opportunities in life, and that's what my life has been across the board.
And I think with you, it playing sports, which a lot of people say, well, you know, you really focus totally on that, but I think that teaches you a lot too. It teaches you a lot of discipline and all. I know the coach is going to ride you. They're going to, you know, you got to do this and you got to do that, and it's almost it's more than just playing a sports. It's discipline and team playing.
Yes, sir.
Because I know a lot of companies set up these team plans. I've been in many of them, and you got to work as a team to be able to accomplish this task.
Yes, sir. So there's no question about it. Like sports taught me so much about life, about being disciplined, about depending on others, about when you make a mistake, how it affects others. You know, so it's the whole gamut of life. And so that was the you know, I witnessed a lot of things growing up, but that was an avenue to trying to get me away from things that I saw every day, that a lot of students see right now. And so it's just a different avenue to discipline. You know, most people that's been on a band or been on a team or been in an organization like that, they understand how to work as a team once they go out into the real world. So you understand the concept of everyone's depending on you. And if you mess it up here, it's going to cause this. And so those are life lessons that we learn all the time.
Now, when you got the scholarship to go to college there, I know if I had a ball scholarship that I went to like that, I'd have this mentality like, I'm coming in, they wanted the best, and that's why they got me.
That's exactly right.
Did you get in there? Did you see that kind of deflate your ego some, or?
It was very humbling, you know, from leaving Union, you know, and you know, I was one of the best players all the time. And so when you go to college and everyone on the field is just as good as you.
Yeah.
And so, you know, you had this ego of, oh, I know I'm the best player out here. And when you get out there on the field, it's like, okay, so now I got to step my game up because I'm not going to set the bench. I'm very, very competitive. And so I wanted to play as a freshman, and I watched, and I never played outfield a day in my life. I always pitched. I always played infield. And so it was no room for me to play except for outfield. I was like, okay, coach, put me out there. And it took me a while. But, you know, as I kept working, as I kept, you know, disciplining myself to learn how to play a new position, I just wanted to be on the field. I didn't want to set the bench. And so I want to win. I want to be first all the time.
Yeah. Now, it had to be, especially in college and in high school too, to play and put your studies in there to where you're going to make the grade. How difficult was that? That you really had to do a balance there, didn't you?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You have to discipline yourself to be at practice early in the mornings and, you know, make sure that you're studying and preparing yourself across the board. So one of the greatest things that ever happened to me in my career, you know, when I first went, like I said, my goal was to make it to the major leagues. And I never really dressed up. I never really had those kind of opportunities, but I was in class, and the more I was moving along, so we had to dress up and present in class. And I'll never forget one of my professors, Dr. Moses Dixon. I was so nervous. I had never really wore a tie to have to present in front of people. And I was nervous. I was so nervous. And I went up and I presented. And he said, Lyles, he said, you know what? I need to see you after class. And I'm thinking, oh, wow, I blew it. You know, I was nervous. I know I didn't do well. And he walked out to me and he said, we walked outside and he said, Lyles, let me tell you something. You were amazing. He said that was one of the best presentations I ever, you know, witnessed as a professor.
Wow.
And I'm thinking that I was horrible. And he said, look out. And so we were standing up on the third floor. And he said, you see all those people sitting out there on the campus wasting time right now? most of those students would not graduate from college. What he didn't know was most of those students were my teammates. And I was ready to go sit outside as well. And he said, Lyles, I looked at the dean's list. You're not on the dean's list. Why are you not on the dean's list? And I said, I don't know. I never, and so when I walked off, I thought about it like my entire life. From K to 12, I did enough to get the grades I needed to play ball. No one had ever really challenged me to do that. And he said, I want to make sure you're on the dean's list.
Wow.
The next time it come out. And so I went back to my room and I was like, the dean's list? I never had to work to do that before. No one ever challenged me. But it was a pivotal point in my career and who I am because he challenged me to do something that no one ever pushed me to do that.
Took you out of your comfort zone, didn't it?
There's no question about it. And I said, you know what? I'm going to try my best to make the honor roll. If I don't make it, I never made it before anyway. And so that story don't really line up for education. But it propelled me as a leader in caring about students because the potential was there, but because he challenged me. So when I started as a teacher, that was just my philosophy because I made the honor roll, I graduated with honors, and I shocked myself. And I said, so now that I'm going into teaching, I know it works because I was that student.
Well, I know that, we all got to have someone that's going to push our button in the right way, in the right direction to take your life the next level. Because we, young growing up and things, we think ourselves, well, we know it all. We know everything and, and not like that. But we're going to be right back after this message in a minute. And we're going to be talking a little bit about you as an educator and what directions that you're in position that you're in now. What took you there, and talk a little bit about the kids there. So we'll be right back right after these messages from, Graham's Florida.
For the most important moments in your life, when you need to say congratulations, express gratitude, or say I love you. At Graham's Flowers, we deliver your deepest emotions. When you need more than just flowers, call Graham's Flowers your personal florist. At Graham's Flowers, customer satisfaction is guaranteed. Visit us at 208 East Main Street in Union, South Carolina, or call us at 864-427-2454.
And because without them, it gets kind of a little dim. And I've used different types of light before. And you know what? Looks like I'm back on again. I'm sitting here talking about lights. We had to switch something off back here. Let me see if that kind of did a little bit. It helped some. So, Mr. Lyles, let me ask you. Now, you went into, you went to another college too, correct?
Yes, Converse College.
Converse. Oh, okay. Is that where you got your master's, or?
I got my master's in everything in leadership at Converse.
Oh, okay.
Yes, sir.
Wow. And now, what is the first teaching position that you went into?
Yes. So, long journey from the ISS teacher to superintendent of SCDJJ.
Right.
So it's been an incredible ride. I wouldn't change anything at all. Mr. Lewis Jeter, Mr. Mike Castles, and Tommy Sinclair. Like really, really went to bat for me. When I first came out of school, when I graduated, I was doing a double major. So my certification wasn't clear at the time, but Mr. Castles, Mr. Jeter, Mr. Sinclair, I couldn't get it taken care of on my end at school. I came to Union County Schools. I started teaching and coaching. And that first year, because school was starting, I started as the ISS teacher. And so most people don't remember or know that, but I was coaching 7th grade football. I was the ISS teacher. And so, because I had some other areas of things I need to take care of with certification, and they literally went to bat for me to help me, get in position. And I told them, I said, I promise you, if I get a chance, I'm gonna do everything I can to be the very best that I can be. And so I started out as a middle school math teacher at Assessor Middle School, Ms. Linda Library and Mr. Mike Castle. And I taught math there for 6 years.
Well, when you first walk in that classroom and you're seeing all these kids here, and you have a responsibility of getting them to learn in a way that's going to be great. 'Cause I know my son teaches at the high school over here math.
Yes.
And he does a lot of fun, different things to
Yes.
get them to think outside that box, but yet do the task. How did you feel when you first walked in that classroom? First time that you're responsible.
Yes. So the very first time, I was really nervous before school started, and I just thought about the experience I had in college about just someone believing in you and someone telling you that you're better than what you think of for yourself. Mm-hmm. So my very first day, I had signs up in my room. It said "Good morning, champions." So instead of them being nervous, or most of them hated math at the time, and I was a math teacher. So I literally wanted to make it fun. I wanted to make it engaging, and at the end of the day, I was accountable to make sure they learn at a high level. So I didn't start nervous. I started with a lot of energy. So when they walked in, I was high-fiving, "Good morning, champion." They were like, "This man is crazy."
Yeah, because they probably not even seen that before like
They're
that.
not used to it at all. And so we had fun. I put them in stations, and at the end of the day, I wanted them to know me first.
Right.
Because, I think what's really, really important as a teacher and working with students, like if they see a different side of you. I didn't want to, most of my students want to say Coach Lyles. I didn't allow my students to call me Coach Lyles because I was coaching football at the time, and we were winning the state championship. But I made them call me Mr. Lyles because I wanted them to understand that teaching was more important than coaching.
Right.
And I didn't want to just be a coach. I wanted to be a great teacher. I wanted to be the absolute best teacher. And so I looked at videos. I remember back then it was like Harry Wong was like, "What do the best teachers do?" And I started my first year like that. And I surrounded myself with people. And I asked a lot of questions from Mr. Castles to Ms. Librand, Ms. Dale Goff. Like, they all helped me so much.
Yeah, Miss Dale Coff was on my show here the other week.
She's amazing.
She is. Now, as you was going into teaching, how did you observe the kids? Because I know sometimes people look at observation of a child, maybe having some poor results, but it goes beyond that. Sometimes you got to look beyond that. What's actually? Do you size up the children? What's going on in life and stuff like that? How did you connect that way?
Well, I think that's a great question, by the way, and I think it starts with relationships. And going back to what I said earlier about when you asked about your best teachers, it was how they made you feel. And so my ultimate goal was just to get to know people. I wanted to know everything I could about you. I wanted you to know that I was going to be there and support you in every way I can. And that's the way I connected with students every day, with my teammates, staff members. I feel like I have been so blessed to work with so many wonderful people. Miss Tracy Conley, when I was a first-year teacher, Miss Conley was a veteran teacher. And, that was absolutely the best thing that ever happened in my career, that Mr. Castles, Ms. Librand paired me with a great teacher. And I didn't have a clue. I was nervous. I was energetic. But Miss Conley did everything right, and I never did anything right. But I went to her every day, and I watched her. And so I think it's so important that when you have a first-year teacher, someone coming in, you got to connect them with great teachers, because you don't know what you don't know. So I had an opportunity to glean with one of the best in Union County, and Miss Tracy Conley, and I knew I was nowhere close, but I watched her every day, and I wanted to be there. And so when I became a leader, I made sure when people were starting out that they had a good beginning. Right. And I think it's the same way for students, to make sure they get off to a good start. Not so much about what you don't know or how did you come in, but getting them off to a good start.
Right. Now, I know that you went from elementary to high school, and we look at our high school students, that the dropout rate is really alarming. And What are some of the things that you saw that maybe some changes could happen that these to keep this dropout rate from being big as it is? Because I know when I was growing up
Yes.
in high school, I dropped out, and when I did that, my thinking was, well, I'm going to go to work over here and I'm going to make all this money. I made $1.70 an hour, and boy, was I hitting it good.
Yes, sir.
But they get the wrong image,
Yes.
and nowadays it's even more so out there that say, well, you can make it big doing this, you can make it big even selling drugs, you can make it big in this right
That's
here.
right.
So what are some of the challenges, some of the things that you yourself can observe and look in students, especially when you're in high school like that,
Yeah.
that would change some of that?
Well, I think the big piece was like going back to what I said before is about relationships first and finding out like what are their basic needs. Like, Maslow's needs for every single person. Did you get a good night's rest? And finding out about that student from a community standpoint. Like, it's easy to say you didn't do this right, you didn't do this, you did this wrong.
Right.
But sometimes that child has not slept at all because they were staying with someone. And then just finding out about it. So when you talk about dropout rate and you talk about impact, once you get to know students and you find out more about them, then you know what they need, and they'll talk to you. But if you don't know them, they're not gonna open up and talk to you. And so, I think the thing that's helped me the most is I've been around incredible teams, and number one, I push relationships. I push caring about students every single day, and caring about your staff as well. So when you have a team like that and everyone's invested in making it better for students, everything changes.
And that goes with all teachers to being observant, because there's triggers there.
That's right.
That's the reasoning why. It's not because, oh, this is because they just stupid or something like that. And I don't think anybody is stupid. A stupid person would be the one that didn't try.
That's right.
That's on their own self. But there's triggers there that will help, that you notice and see in these children, because you want you don't want them to fail your class.
Right.
I mean, I hear students sometimes say, "Well, teachers don't like me. They're going to fail me." They don't want to fail you.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And I used to challenge students and say, "You're not failing. I don't care what happens. You're not going to fail my class because we're going to do everything we can, and including." So some of the things that I did when you talk about graduation rate and changing the gap for students was, if you were a student that I could not get anything out of and things were not going well, I'm knocking on the door. I would go to their house and literally knock on the door and say, hey, introduce myself and say, I just need help. Like, I'm not going to let your son or your daughter fail, and this is what I need. Right. And so once I gained that parental support, it was easy. It was easy after that. It's like, do I need to call? Oh, no, sir. No, sir.
And we know nowadays that when they have the parent-teachers conference, we know a lot of parents either can't make it or don't. So if you make that extra effort to contact them, and I think that is a key thing about the kids that's on the verge of dropout, or just getting to know them. Now, when you have children, I know we worry about all different things. We can't say certain things nowadays, and you can't do this. It's a lot of restrictions and stuff. But there's ways. I know my daughter teaches at Sims, and she creates her room into flamingos or different things like that, different themes and things. I wish I say, wow, I wish I had a teacher growing up like that, had teachers like that.
That's right.
And my son, he'll come up and he used to tell them, okay, we're going to have this test here. If you get this answer right, have quiz. I'm going to sing a song for you if you do that. Yes. Just different things that breaks that. When I come out, you come in, you open your book up and study, that kind of breaks that and gives them a more personal relationship. And his son goes, he said, I go up and look at him and say, hey, how you doing? What's going, how you been doing today? Just kind of and give them some encouragement. Yes. To lift them, because they might not have got any encouragement the time they left home.
That's exactly right. No question about that. And that's what it's about. But that when you see those things and different things that's happening in class, that's exposure. So the students know, oh, well, when I go in, I'm going to see this, I'm going to see that. It's making connections. You make me feel welcome. you make me feel like I'm important. And so that changed the narrative to he don't like me.
Right.
Just doing those little things make all the difference in the world.
Yeah.
So
And kids, they look at body language. They look at just kind of that
right.
especially, and they just kind of they look at the world a little bit differently than we do. Like
no
that.
question about it.
Well, we're gonna go to a commercial, and then we're gonna come back, and we're gonna talk about your kids today.
Yes, sir.
That you're kind of overall, and we'll talk about that DJJ, and it's not like the classroom and that. Remember the sitcom Welcome Back, Carter?
That's right.
A little bit different than that, right?
For the most important moments in your life, when you need to say congratulations, express gratitude, or say I love you. At Graham's Flowers, we deliver your deepest emotions. When you need more than just flowers, call Graham's Flowers your personal florist. At Graham's Flowers, customer satisfaction is guaranteed. Visit us at 208 East Main Street in Union, South Carolina, or call us at 864-427-2454.
Savannah, the at-risk conference.
All right, we're back. We're talking to Floyd Lyles, and I got his name underneath my name. That's not him. That's me. And we're talking about our kids, children, that life-changing things, and that's education. And we're going to talk a little bit about Mr. Lyles and his role at DJJ, and tell us a little bit about that, and about some kids that they're not throwaway kids. They're kids that that needed help, and this might just be the best opportunity in the world for them.
Yes, sir.
And I've got your name, and I've got DJJ underneath there, and the people all say, "Well, is he a guard or what?" So tell us a little bit about your position and what got you there and to that position.
Yes. So I'm superintendent of SCDJJ, and even before I went there, I had no idea DJJ had their own school district. So like Union County schools had their own school district, Spartanburg 7. So SCDJJ have their own school district, and so that's made up of 13 different sites with students in it that's locked up, that's incarcerated from here in Union to Georgetown, Beaufort. So we all over the state. It's 13 different like schools. Like we have, Buffalo Elementary, Monarch Elementary. For DJJ, we have 13 different school sites.
Now, is it challenging to give these students some insight since, they are, despite of their being the circumstances they're in? Is it hard to teach them or to get them on the right path as education goes, and because they're in probably I'd say one of the worst places, but yet a good place.
Yeah. Well, I think that what's helped me really, really become successful at SCDJJ was just my start here in Union County. When I first left, I was teaching for 6 years. I was assistant principal at the high school for 2 years. And then I went to Jonesville, K-5 school at the time. And then we built a new school to become the K-8 school, the new school that's here now. And so the exact same thing that I, did as a leader at Jonesville, because when we started, I used to challenge the team and say, we were the worst school in the district. We were last. And so when I first went, it was, that was right in the midst of consolidation.
Right.
When we became Union County. And so when I first went to Jonesville, when you look at the data, our school was last. We were last. And so we had meetings, and we had an amazing team. And I said, guys, we're better than this. I don't like being last. I always want to win, and we're going to go from worst to first. Right. And we put it up. And so when I talk about GJJ, it was the lessons that I learned here in Union County and the support that I had that changed my belief about everything. I remember being at Jonesville K-8 school, and we started with we had we started honors classes at the time, and and I'm saying all this because it's a pivotal point with what my beliefs changed as a leader. At the time, we had 3 students that qualified for honors classes. And I remember being in a principal's meeting, and everyone else had large numbers of students that qualified. Well, we had 3. And so I heard different people talking in the meeting about, well, we're gonna wave some students in that are close. And so they said, hey, Mr. Lyles, you may not be able to have an honors program because you only have 3. And I said, no, we're gonna have an honors program. I'm gonna wave a few in. Because I just had a belief in our students. And I went to parents and I said, look, your student's not gonna like this at all, but we're gonna have an honors program and I need you to trust me. And so when I went back to the principal's meeting to present, I remember Ms. Goff and Ms. Langley looked at me and said, Mr. Lyles, so how many students you have? I said, 32. And so that's what they said. Like, Floyd, what are you doing? And I said, I had 32. And so I said, I had a parent signatures. I have 32. And so that was a challenge for us. But I say all that just to say that out of those 32, when it was time at the time was the PAT test. When those students, before they test, you can't say nothing on test day. So I didn't say anything. But weeks before leading up to the test, I went in the room and I said, okay, when I call your name, please stand. So I called out the 3 students who qualified to be in the honors class. And I said, every single one of you have worked hard. And I believe in you. And I said, I believe in you, but you have to show up and do your absolute best. I just want your best. And so that year changed my whole career. Because I believe, but I wasn't sure.
Right.
And so the entire class, all 32, 34 students, they scored proficient or advanced. And so my belief level changed. So I knew if it happened for one student, I knew if it happened for me when my college professor challenged me, this can happen for any students that's put in the right system, the right place, and have a buy-in with my other staff. And so that's the greatest testament of my career that happened right here at Jones McKee School. And we went from the worst to the best. So the same recipes, we went to Union County High School, and, the graduation rate was 60. And we went from an F school to 0.2 of a point from being a B school. So we went from F to C. And so just having good teammates. And so I knew my belief level was there for students in every single way. So I knew it was possible.
Well, I know, even though the students are incarcerated where you're at, their charges, the crime, it really doesn't define who they really are, does it?
Not at all. Not at all. When I went to DJJ, I went through some tough times in my life myself. And I feel like, I know I was blessed to go into a situation where I was broken and all those students were broken.
Right.
And so I'm like, the challenging things that I went through helped me understand that every single person need an opportunity. Every single person need a chance. And so when I went in, I didn't know any of the students at all. My first day on the job, I walked in, had on a bow tie, and one of the guards say, who are you? You in jail. You can't come in here smiling. You can't come in here being nice to people. You in jail. What's wrong with you? And I said, well, thank you. You're on the welcome committee. And so the very first day, it was a riot.
Oh, man.
Very first day. And I said, Lord, what have I done? First day. And the same thing that I did at Jonesville K-8 School, the same thing that I did at Union County High School. We built relationships. We set the bar of expectations that all students can learn. And 7.5 years later, SCDJJ, we have 900 graduates.
Wow.
Of students in jail. 900. So that don't really make the news. 900.
Yeah, no, and that's crazy. That the news should. Hey, guess what? It should be really shouting it out. Cause I can imagine that the students self, because like I said, I know I dropped out,
Yes.
but I went back, got a GED,
Yeah.
and graduated from the University of South Carolina. And I never believed myself would have done that, but I had someone that believed in me, which was my wife and family. And when you got that someone behind you and pushing you that way,
Yes.
and when you accomplish that, it's great. Now they actually get a diploma
Yes,
saying that they graduate, correct?
yes, sir. Yes, sir. We have students that are getting high school diplomas. And students, most of our students come in, they're over age with 2 or 3 credits. So the best choice for them is to get their GED. But I'm really, really proud that in 7.5 years, that 900 students have walked across that stage. Over 50 students are in college. We have students in jail right now. We have 27 students in jail in college right now.
Wow.
We have a few students that are like sophomores and juniors in college, because going back to what you said earlier, it's really about relationships and putting students in the best opportunity to be able to learn. And just you get, it's a lot of work. And so you have to really peel the scales back. But I don't do anything different from elementary. I've been blessed with the opportunity. I don't say K to 12. I say K to jail.
Right.
And the recipe's been the same.
And people look at, well, they're in DJJ, they're incarcerated. A lot of people think, oh, there's a bad seed and stuff like that. But when you got 900 some that's said, okay, I'm going to make this stand, I'm going to get my education.
Yeah.
If they were out in the street, those 900 would probably never went back and finished school. They would be working these other jobs where now they'll have an opportunity with their education to get a better paying job, and also it teaches them besides the streets. And to me, that just taking them and hold them and said, okay, we're going to put you in here. This is not punishment. This is an opportunity.
Yes, sir. Yes,
And that's got and people like yourself, you people can't give up on their children.
that's right.
We can't just throw them out. No, you said never learn nothing else. You just can't do that. And they didn't. No one done it on me, and I know how it feels being on that end.
That's right.
So and the graduating from college and you're coming out of that environment, that's got to be it's got to be a proud moment for that student.
Oh, there's no question. Like our graduation, we had over 300, family members, people being there with those students, and to see them, the same guys that, committed really bad crimes. They're crying, saying, Miss Lyles, I never saw myself being a high school graduate. And so, I was blessed with the opportunity to present at summer leadership at Myrtle Beach and at the at-risk conference in Savannah. And so I started it's a presentation called Prison Walls to College Halls, because everyone can see jail, but it really takes a unique person to see beyond the crimes they committed, because they're going to be punished for those crimes, and that's wrong.
Right.
There's no justification for them at all. But while they're here, we have to make sure we give them the best possible education as possible. And so that's what we've done.
Now, question, my thought is, are they? Is it mandatory when they go into the DJJ system? Mandatory that they go to these classes?
Yes, sir, and it's a fight, because we have students that's yes, sir, it's definitely a fight, because they'll say, Ms. Lyles, I quit school 2 years ago. And I said, okay, well, you don't have a choice. Like, you got to come here. I'm re-enrolling you again. And they say, I'm going to quit tomorrow. And sometimes they will. But going through that, it's amazing to see that we have 14, 15, 16-year-old. You can't really drop out until you're 17, but they've not been in school in 2 and 3 years.
Yeah.
So to see those students who's been out of school for 2 years and they were already dropped out, but they got in trouble and broke the law, now you have to come to school. So we have to figure out how to make it work. We got to figure out how to go through all those layers to get them to, to try their best.
Right. Well, when they tell you that I haven't been to school, and it's right. It just that probably tells you that they themselves don't believe in themselves. No one's ever encouraged them,
Yes.
and that's where you go back to what you saying that you got to give them some encouragement. You got to say yes, you can do this.
Yes.
If you can go out and figure out how to get in one of these electronic cars and steal a car, man, you're pretty smart.
That's exactly right. The same tool set. You just got to change it and do the right thing with it. And I mean, the most amazing thing that I've learned over time working at SEDJJ is a lot of it started in elementary school. Like
Oh.
it's really when it started coming off the tracks, it was early grades like K to 3, 3 to 5, and so they said, Miss Lyles, the teacher didn't like me, and I was bad. I didn't sit down, but they didn't realize that I didn't have anything to eat last night. They didn't realize I heard screaming all night long.
Right.
So they just said I was bad, and I was, but I really just needed help. And so I literally, in that PowerPoint of prison walls and college halls, I did an interview with 2 of our college students. And I said, tell everyone your story from when did it start? And they said, 3rd grade, 2nd grade. We were labeled. We were labeled with IEPs, 504s. We were bad. And people started treating us like that. We used to hear the adults talking about it. And
So they go up in stages. For I think I read something that you wrote, and from bad to he's a problem. It's something that
Yeah.
you wrote in there about you're labeled this, and then if it continues on, it ends up being problem child, and it carries on with them there, and families when teachers look at their family, their father, their mother, they might be incarcerated,
that's right.
and might be them teaching them different ways than what you see, and they don't want to go that way because they see what happens, but they want to learn something, but when we push them aside, that's sad, and we do have teachers that do that, but we have some great teachers also,
That's right.
but we just have to learn, especially with the dropout rate, where are these kids going? Are they going out on the street? Some have been homeless. I know a young boy that was his family moved, slept in cars and stuff like that, but they still encouraged this young boy and still tried to help, and these are not bad kids, even though they maybe done something wrong.
Yeah. Well, and the dropout rate starts in elementary school.
Yeah.
Everyone see it in high school, but that early literacy, our 4K program at Jonesville, Miss Bailey, they were incredible. Like getting students off to a great start. And what I would say to all educators right now, you have people can tell you who are the high flyers, students that probably not going to do right in school. We know who they are, but I think we got to put systems in place to start capturing them. So when I first became principal at the elementary school, I heard everyone else talk about who were the quote unquote bad students. I don't believe in that, but that's what people say.
Right.
And I wrote the list down and I called them over the summer and I said, hey, come help me at the school. So I built a relationship with them first. When I went to the high school, I found out the year before I got to the high school, we had 76 expulsion hearings. So I looked up all those students and I reached out in the community and I started reaching out, calling them, hey, you're going to have a better year this year. This is what I need from you. So I knew them before they were in trouble. And I think that's important. Graduation rate don't start in high school. It starts in the early grades.
Well, even to me, I always think, and until you just cleared it up and thinking about it, is that, well, the bad doesn't happen until they get in high school and get mixed the wrong bunch. But like you said, it starts way earlier than that. So that's why the teachers in those lower grades, how very important it is for them to shape those children
Yep.
from that age, because that's a teachable age also.
Yes.
It's very important, instead of saying, well, my first, second, third grade, it don't make no difference, but it makes a big difference.
Oh, there's no question. Even we had those same problems in the elementary school here at Jonesville. And when we had those problems, those students literally used to be in my office, and I wasn't going to suspend them, but I was really, really pushing them to do better. And I was blessed to see them all the way up to K-8. So I really, really knew them. And then I ended up moving to the high school with a lot of those students. And so I watched them graduate. And even the ones who didn't make it across the finish line, we were calling. We were calling. We were reaching out. We were trying our best to get them back in school to finish. And so it's the same thing so what I learned here in Union County blessed me with, what's happening at DJJ. So I'm so grateful for, the entire community. I'm so grateful for so many people that helped me and pushed me and just gave me an opportunity.
Yeah, well, I was talking about we label students in the earlier ages, being a bad, and it goes up as being at risk. That's the word I was trying to look
Yes,
at.
sir.
At risk, and it gets more and more. How do you ever thought about how a student looks at an educator?
Yes. Like, I think, and I say this all the time in the presentations, I think we all at risk. So whether you're the best and the brightest that did everything right, I think every single one of us at risk. We're one decision away from being in a horrible situation. And so it's the same thing with our students. And I think that you have to look at them, you have to give them grace. And you're like, we all know right now, if you go to any school right now, you say, who are your high flyers? Everyone can identify them. My question would be, what are we doing with that group? Because it's going to keep growing. Or you gotta change it. You gotta change the avenues of it.
Now, you don't always see things how they are, but instead they see things how we are. It's kind of like a
That's exactly
two-way
right.
street, right? And
That's exactly right. And students feel that. They feel when you walk in, like whether you with them or not. And that group will, they know who, I used to always hear, I remember Mr. Jack Kelly used to always talk about, it's not so much what you know. They want to know that you care.
right.
And that's the ultimate piece to change things for students. And you have to keep saying it, even when they don't do right, even when things are going bad.
Yeah.
You have to continue to believe. You have to continue to stay positive. And they'll get tired of you being positive that they will change. I mean, I experienced that in jail. I had a young man today. I said, why are you so upset with everyone? Why are you so mean? And he said, you really want to know? I said, yes, sir, I do. He said, I lost my 14-year-old brother. He got shot in the car with me. And I feel like it's my fault.
And a heavy burden to carry, too.
Yeah, and I said, you know what? I would feel just like you. I would feel just like you. But you have bigger things you got to think about. And I said, I know you don't want to think about it right now. But I let him know that I would feel that way.
Yeah.
And so by him hearing me say, I would feel the same way if someone took my little brother.
Right. Yeah.
Then the anger went down. And then we could have a different conversation. But if I had to just say, well, that's wrong.
Yeah.
You can't do that.
No, he just blocked that out.
Then it's a whole different conversation.
This is your quote, actually. Your students may forget what you taught them, but will always remember the way you made them feel.
100%. And that's us with adults as well.
Right.
If I'm rude and if I'm short with you and I don't want to make eye contact and treat you with dignity and respect every single day, you're going to remember that.
Right.
But if I do it every day,
They're going to remember that.
They're going to remember that.
Yeah.
And so even if we don't get along, even if you don't want to hear it, you know that I respect you and I care about you.
Well, it's just like I have a page that from a school that I used to go to that I run on Facebook, and I see on it a lot of times somebody put on there says, "What's one of your teachers that you remember?" And they go in and they start telling, "Well, this teacher here, they taught me this right here, or they did this right here."
Yeah.
One of the teachers I remember was Mr. Cook. He was very stern. He always wore a tie, and always was kind of a big, tall guy. But one thing I remember is every day we go outside and play basketball. He says, play the horse. We play HORSE, get how many baskets, if you beat him. And if you beat him, he gave you a dime, which got your ice cream.
Okay.
And I remember that to this day that he took his money and his time just to play a game and he talked to us while we was out there, and we just felt like he was just one of the guys doing that.
Yes, sir.
So it does make a difference on how you make someone feel. And everybody's going to have bad days. We know it.
No question.
Teachers don't come in smiling and growing,
That's right.
like they're going to have a bad day. And I think if you come in as a bad day like that, says, hey, so just kind of help me a little bit, so I'm having a bad day.
Yeah.
And that kind of lets him know, I've had bad days too.
That's right.
And so it's really what you're doing and implementing, being over all these schools, is with the teachers and the principals of those schools, is letting them know that, okay, we got some students, yes, they're incarcerated, yes, but let's don't throw them away. This is our future here.
That's exactly right.
And they got to have a future. If not, then we're going to turn around and they're going to go into the big prisons. And then here we're going to have to spend more tax money to take care of this right here.
That's exactly right.
It's so much that you can start out right here, which probably should have been done many years ago in some of the education. Now, yourself, educators are not parents. They can't do everything there, but they can do everything they can in the classroom to help that child as far as get the education they need to be able to think smart and make smart decisions.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That, just teaching that principle alone works in everything in life.
Yeah.
When you get on the job, you want those same principles to continue. And that's what it's about. I mean, you can't make people care.
No, you can't.
At the end of the day, that's what it comes down to is you have to care beyond. And so what I've learned as an educator is I try my best to treat every single student, every male student, I try to treat it just like I treat my son. And it's not always yes with him. Or my daughter, it's not always yes with her. And they would tell you that first, but that's what it's about. But when you say that and you live it every single day, it makes all the difference in the world.
Tell me, in your career with DHJ so far, without giving the names, of course, that a student there that went on and became something just great. Is there a student that just sticks in your mind that just went beyond that? Could you talk a little bit about that?
Yes, I have a young lady right now. She's a freshman at South Carolina State University. And when she was with us for 3.5 years, and she had an absolute horrible attitude. She was brilliant. And I remember sitting down with her and trying to talk to her, and she was yelling and screaming. I just sat there, and she said, will you please get out, just leave? And I said, I will when you stop. And she was yelling. And she said, why will you not leave? And I said, because I care about you. I care about you. I believe in you. Mm-hmm. And I said, I want you to write for our teacher appreciation. And so I said, I need you to take that same energy. You're going to become a high school graduate, and we're going to get you in college. And so in my presentation, the same speech she wrote to our teachers for teacher appreciation, I play it every time. And so she called me. She was like, Ms. Lyles, this college stuff not for me, and I just want to quit because I was at DJJ. And I said, that's called being a freshman. I was the same way. I wanted to quit. My son wanted to quit.
I wanted to quit.
My daughter's going to be there next year. She's going to want to quit. But I need you to make it to Christmas. And so now she's having an incredible time. All of her grades are excellent. And she's doing well.
Well, and that's good. See, those success stories, and I'm looking forward to seeing others that's coming out and it's going to make differences where they can go back and be mentors of the ones that got incarcerated or maybe having gone a wrong path. Yes. See, to me, those 900 graduate and come out hopefully and praying that they will make a big difference in our community and the world. Not only that, to other kids that's going through the same path because they can relate.
Yes.
Because they have been there. They've done this. so they can talk to them. It's not like someone that I'm talking to someone that's in the 10th grade or 11th grade, and they say, man, you was an old school stuff like that. You don't know what I'm going through. But someone that's been there and took that step, it goes beyond the 900. It goes from thousands and thousands and thousands of children that can be inverted and go to a right path instead of getting to that point to go into DJJ.
Yes. Well, and that's what it's about. You know, I have every year, I had some students 20, 30, almost 30 years ago. And every year they'll put out, you know, who is your favorite teacher? And I have a few students that put my name out there, and they have no idea how it rejuvenates me every single time.
Yeah.
Every time. Because it's about caring. It's about, you know, positioning yourself and believing in students. And so every time I see that message, I literally screenshot it to myself.
Right.
Because I know that's what I'm supposed to be doing every single day. And so the last thing I'll say about that is I'm doing a partnership with Newberry County Schools right now. The same students we're talking about, I'm working with them, and it's called New Beginnings, because I don't want to see them at DJJ.
Right.
And if we don't do something with the group that's being expelled, that's in alternative school, and I'm working with the alternative school, and I say, guys, like, I mean, y'all think it's funny now, but when you walk through those gates, it's not funny anymore.
Not anymore. No.
You know, and that's making a big difference.
Yeah. Well, we're at our top of our hour, and I really appreciate you coming on the show and enlightening us on a lot of things, very important things, and Godspeed on your what you're doing now, because this is children. You know, this is the ones that's going to be taking care of us later on in years, and we want them smart, and and as long as we can keep doing that, and we can't fake it with care, because they can pick it up real quick. Yeah, they're smart. They're street smart. They're more street smart than we are.
They know. Yes, sir. Well, thank you so much for having me, and I appreciate it.
Well, you're welcome. Well, I'm Jerry McKee, and tune in next week. We're going to have a lady come by here. We're going to tell you how to plant plants and how to do your garden when it comes up. Sandra's Garden. She's going to be coming back and giving you some great tips. And I'm Jerry McKee, and we'll see you next Monday at 7.